I wanted to just talk about courses because in a previous conversation that you and I had, you had mentioned that you wanted to create some courses as well. So just walk me through what you're thinking of doing there.
So generally, I teach online and I generally teach one-to-one. However, I really want to start working in more groups. I want to offer people that kind of community. And I also just want to get more people, like the one-to-many. That's where I'm at, where I'm transitioning. So I've played around with doing groups at home and doing them in person. And not too long ago, I also tried out Facebook. So I used Facebook as a way to put together a group. And I was actually very surprised at how great it was for a free resource.
Yep.
And there's units and people can go in there and comment and, explore the content. And speaking of content, what we did was Facebook Lives. So I wanted people to be able to get the chance to join in live, but then as well, it sticks, right? It stays and uploads onto Facebook, the Facebook group, so people can still watch it at their own time.
Great idea.
So, of course, how many people do you think actually watched it live?
Well, yeah, it
Not
tends to be a
very
little lower.
many.
Yeah.
So whatever, no big problem because it stayed there. But then and I'm sure you can agree with me when I say you put all of this time and effort and, getting the lighting just right and the words just right, that you want to be able to reuse or refurbish this content.
Yep.
So you could imagine my frustration when you download the Facebook Live, it's awful quality. So I thought, that didn't work so well for me. And one of the things that you always say that I really appreciate is when you're making content, think about how you can continue to reuse it.
Yeah.
So that was the lesson I learned with Facebook Lives and Facebook groups.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for sharing that, because that is definitely a very important point. Is you want to be able to reuse the content, but you also want to own the content. And so when you're using a platform like Facebook to engage with your audience and then deliver the content to it, you kind of start to lose possession of it in a way. Because if they were to change anything, you could completely lose that content over there. The algorithm changes, or they decide to take down your group or whatever. And then when you're trying to export it, you're having those export difficulties. And so one of the things that I would recommend if you are doing Facebook Lives in the future is that you use something like Crowdcast. Crowdcast is a great little platform in which you can actually stream live into Facebook, but it gives you the ability to control what is being presented and record it. So you've got a kind of a local copy on your computer. So if you end up having any issues with your internet dropping down or dropping out, then you still have got a great video that you can then repurpose into YouTube and onto your website and into courses or a membership site like what we're going to be talking about here in a minute. Mm-hmm. Okay, so one of the things that I would recommend, because you are using a WordPress website, is one of the beautiful things about WordPress is that you can get these inexpensive plugins that can enhance the functionality of the website. So one plugin that I would recommend for courses is called LearnDash. And so what LearnDash allows you to do is create like an e-learning course. And so you can have multiple lessons. You can also have it broken down by chapters, so many lessons per chapter. And on top of that, you can create quizzes or knowledge checks as your student is progressing through it. You can also lock down the sequencing of those courses or those lessons, so they can't move on to lesson 2 until they've done lesson 1, as an example. Now, I don't know if your content is structured that way or if you plan to structure it that way, but if you did, that does give you the opportunity then of making sure that people have the foundational knowledge before they get more into the advanced knowledge. And so I really do like LearnDash for that. It also integrates nicely with a payment gateway, so with PayPal and Stripe. So if you wanted to charge for those courses, you can do that all within that platform. And it's all very seamless. And so they create their account, they get access to the courses that they've purchased, and then they can go in and take those courses whenever they like.